I actually find it a little bit frustrating that people can't understand why I consider myself to be white.
That's one of the most authentic instances of nervous laughter I've ever seen or heard on the internet. Why do you think there's such nervous laughter? Why possibly would anyone find this so tense and uncomfortable an issue to discuss? Could it be perhaps because she's the member of one of the few ideologies in the world, one of the few racist, fascistic ideologies, where to be a member, your credentials have to include being entirely of white ancestry? Could it be that she is in the hypocritical position of advocating against intermarriage between the quote-unquote races, and yet she is herself, in fact, a product of intermarriage between the races? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the tragicomic situation of Tara McCarthy, and like so many of her most interesting videos, this is one that she quickly deleted from the internet, or removed from the internet. It wasn't up for all that long.
À-bas-le-ciel.
My great-granddad was an Indian guy. So, and he married a woman who was like half Jew, half Christian. My great-grandma was a half Jew, okay? I'm not half Jew. My great-grandma was a half Jew. And according to any Jews who I've spoken to about this, they do not consider me to be a Jew. I don't consider me to be a Jew. No one in my personal life considers me to be a Jew. Since, first of all, I am mostly white. Most of my ancestors are white. Most of my ancestors are Celtic. I'm actually both a British citizen and an Irish citizen. My dad is 100% Irish. My mum is half Welsh. So like that's 75% right there. My great-granddad was an Indian guy. I have Indian relatives living in the US. I've traveled all around India, you know, the capital city, the south, the very many parts of India. I don't really know, like, what else you want to know or why else you think I would not be as I am ethno-nationalist and identifying as white. I'm clearly majority white, so...
Right, majority. But your ideology, Tara, that you preach relentlessly on YouTube, on Twitter, on other social media platforms, your ideology specifically is not that mostly is good enough. I have seen Tara McCarthy directly state in relation to her good friend Vegan Gaines, whom she said that she believes he, who is half black and half white, that he should be exiled from Canada, the United States, and sent back to Africa. That's your belief. That's your political position that you espouse, Tara. You don't have some warm, open arms policy that if people are, quote, unquote, mostly white like yourself, that they're welcome in North America. You think they should be kicked out. You've said that about Richard, whom you know personally. You've said that about Vegan Gaines, and yet here you are offering these excuses for yourself.
So it would be a little bit weird for me to identify as Indian. Not to mention, you know, the German blood from my great-grandma. So yeah, and I can show you my 23andMe. Can't really show you right now, but another time I can show you. And I'm clearly majority white.
You know, I've been involved in a lot of different walks of life. If you watch this channel, you already know I did humanitarian work in Laos and Cambodia. I did research in different places all over the world. I just got back from almost 2 years living in China, right in the border between Myanmar and China. Nowhere have I been involved in any political movement or any job where my ethnicity and my bloodline mattered, or it qualified me for the job. I am half Jewish. I remember when I first did my job interview, my girlfriend's off camera here. Babe, you remember I told you that story at the time, yeah? Yeah. You know, one of the people interviewing me, one of the Chinese people interviewing me, he did ask, he said, "Oh, are you Persian?" It's a totally reasonable question. He just thought the shape of my nose and face and so on looked a little bit more Persian than Western European. And, I told him, oh, no, I'm half Jewish and so on. A couple of times the Chinese people in China just came up, but it never really mattered. It never really mattered. I've definitely faced prejudice and hostility on account of religion, on account of beliefs, on account of religious creed. But race in this sense, bloodline, boy, she managed to sign up for the one ideology. She actively propounds and promotes the one ideology where she has to face up to this. And for her, it's a bitter pill to swallow because it makes her a complete hypocrite.
Now, of course, there are people, who call themselves white nationalists and who think that anyone who even has like one drop of non-white blood should not be in their country. And that's their opinion. I support their right to make that proposal. I support their right to make that as a proposition for political policy. But I don't think most people agree with them, because I think that most people would recognize that that's kind of an unrealistic and unnecessary standard to uphold. Having said that, if you personally feel like you want to make sure that your fiance has 100% white blood before you get married to them, before you have kids with them, that's fine. Go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. But I don't think that's really the goal that most people who identify as ethno-nationalist or who have kind of ethno-nationalist sympathies, I don't think that's actually what they would support as a policy. So it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange to think that I would be identifying with my Asian side. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, so people, say that I'm mixed race or whatever. The other thing is, Indians are actually Caucasian, so I'm 100% Caucasian. That makes you happy. So I don't feel very conflicted or anything.
Just think about how pathetic it is to be signed up for any ideology where you've got to show your blood test to show that you're part of that political movement. Nobody asked me, when I was involved with Buddhism, when I was involved with humanitarian work in Laos, when I was involved with humanitarian work in politics and studies related to the First Nations people, the Cree and the Ojibwe. I didn't have to be partly Cree or partly Ojibwe to try to do something positive for the Cree language or the Cree people. Are you kidding me? It was important what I believed in was important. It was important that I wasn't a Christian missionary. It was important that I, what ideologically I personally believed in, ideologically and religiously. But my bloodline? You want to talk about your DNA test? Really, homeboy? I don't know. God, just imagine how pathetic it would be if there were a PhD program that let you in on the basis of your blood test. If there were anything, any job, anywhere in the world, any political party, if the Green Party cared about your DNA and your blood test, pathetic. It would totally discredit the Green Party. It would totally discredit the PhD program. That's the doing. But this woman signed up for the one fringe racist political ideology where she's got to talk about her blood test and her DNA ratios.
So I think it's fair to say that I'm not a Jew. By blood, I have 2% Ashkenazi genes, according to 23andMe.
I don't know if you noticed this, but in her old racist videos, I think most of them are deleted. She keeps putting up videos and deleting them. She makes Twitter comments to this kind too. But she always pointed out that, she was partly Jewish, and she would claim that Jewish people do really well in IQ tests and so on, like as if she's not, like she's a white supremacist. She's part of this fascistic, movement, but she's not ashamed of being partly Jewish. Well, what this reveals is she has twice as much Indian ancestry as she has Jewish ancestry, and she is ashamed of it. So she's mentioning all of her other ancestry, the Celtic ancestry, the German ancestry. But yeah, simply a viewer in her audience, she was doing a live stream, and someone commented, look, just looking at your facial structure, I can tell you're partly of Indian ancestry. Why aren't you more open about your own mixed Asian ancestry? And this is the awkward answer she gave to that question.
Hey guys, so someone emailed me and asked me this question that I get kind of semi-often in the comments, and thought I might as well make a video to address it. So I'll read it out here. Being a mixed-race ethno-nationalist, how do you reconcile your mixed culture blood? Are you ashamed that you are not only white? Lots of questions here. Do you hate your non-white side? Do you try so hard to fit in with white people that you don't seem to find a connection to your Asian blood? You are obviously from the UK. You are also a mixture with an Indian ancestor or two. Judging by your face and history between Britain and India, I'd say it's pretty close. Anyways, it's not my business. I just thought you should consider that you have indulged in a bit of self-hate. So it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange to think that I would be identifying with my Asian side. That's all I'm saying.
It's kind of strange to think that you're a member of an ideology that actively demonizes intermarriage of white Europeans and Asians, and you are yourself the product of intermarriage of white Europeans and Asians. That's what's kind of strange here, Tara. That's the strangest thing of all.
À-bas-le-ciel.